So improving at chess as intermediate, while it's very hard, like being a beginner, it's also one of the more satisfying things to actually do. You're not just winning because your opponent blunder, you actually need to start putting more effort into actually beating these people, so it's actually a lot more fun. And of course, I leveled up from there. And this is my own proof, okay? Just so that you could see what I'm going to show you in this video does work. And you're probably around here right now. So you're 1200, you're 1300, you're just above a beginner. You're a beginner intermediate now. This is where you are right now. Right here, I didn't really play that much. Is really where I expect you to be for this video. And whenever you want, you can consider subscribing, okay? And I will be here next time that you go into learning chess from your desktop. So let's start. Right, so here we have this example. The two sides are currently equal. There's a few ups and downs, but still, this is an equal position between two intermediate players. They're equal, okay? Now, this is the issue. The move that white does, which is queen to e2, is an inaccuracy. At the beginning, it doesn't look like that much of a deal. Soon we're gonna figure out why this is an inaccuracy, okay? Because what black ends up doing is bishop to g4. This is basically a pin of the knight to the queen, okay? And you can see now you've just allowed black to create a threat. That honestly, first time I saw it, I really needed to analyze this game actually. This issue is quite common. Now, the next issue that happened is that white decides to do long castle. So it does king to c1. So long castling, that is another mistake. Why is this? Simply because it allows now the pawn to clearly fall, okay? It's the only reason that this is a blunder. It's a mistake, not a blunder, excuse me. And now black saw it, okay? So black basically takes, knight takes on e5. And that puts him in a big advantage, okay? When we're now getting into the intermediate levels, okay, and the higher ends of intermediate, we need to understand that being a pawn up is an advantage, and being up 2 pawns is completely winning. Here comes the next mistake that white makes, bishop to e3, okay? Bishop to e3 is a mistake, and when I started, I didn't really understand why is this a mistake, okay? But now I know this, and so I can tell you why. Well, it allows black to really damage our pawn structure. So he can take, but he can also do this, which is a lot better. Now I'm in a problem. After I take, okay, because I don't want to be at a disadvantage this high, okay? I take, and now I have a damaged pawn structure, okay? A pinned knight to a queen, and he's a pawn up. He has these small advantages that are in his favor, okay? He has a pin to my queen, okay? His knight is threatening my bishop. I have a bad pawn structure. I have double isolated pawns. These disadvantages are not large, but when you count them up, they suddenly accumulate into a minus 4.13 disadvantage for me. And I didn't realize it up until a lot later. And I certainly don't want you to wait with realizing this, okay? These small disadvantages or advantages are called imbalances. An imbalance is basically any change in the game, okay? In the favor of each side. So for example, these double pawns, they're an imbalance, okay, in the favor of black, because it's a disadvantage that I have. When he can take on here, for example, this is an imbalance in his favor. When he has a knight, which is pinned to my queen because of this bishop, that is an imbalance in his favor as well. So it's very small, but it has a big effect. And so let's move now to the second example, and you're going to see it there as well. And also we're going to talk about how to actually solve this later on, so don't worry. Here we have this position, okay? It's called the Owens defense, and pretty equal, okay? It's very fine. Here, what black does is bishop takes on c3, okay? And it shows an inaccuracy. Why is this an inaccuracy in comparison to last time, okay? It's an inaccuracy because, yes, you're making double pawns, you're making here double pawns, but it's actually not that bad for you, okay? Think about it. It's a very strong center for white, okay? You can castle and king, and everything is fine for you right here. And what happens is you have two pieces that are developed, okay, an imbalance in favor of white, in contradiction to black, which has only one piece which is developed, which is why doing a move like bishop takes is bad basically for black, because it creates this development advantage. This is basically it. So now black does knight to c6. Now white decides to castle, and black does the move queen to e7. Okay, another mistake. Again, you're giving white an advantage in development, because now this knight cannot move anywhere. It's not gonna go here. It can't, like, literally. This is another imbalance in the favor of white. Now white has an imbalance in development, okay, and now the fact that he has a strong center. How do we actually come to solve these problems? In addition to that, which is improving our thought question process. So you probably already are familiar with this. Before every move that you make, you probably like ask yourself certain things, like, is it a blunder and how can I improve my position? Things like this, like checks, blunders, and threats. Usually this is the common that is being today. You probably do something very, very similar. Let me show you how I do this. And you can just copy. So first of all, I ask before every move. So here, for an example, I ask one, what does my opponent want to do? Okay, the first question. The second is, how can I improve my own position? How can I damage my opponent's position? Is it a blunder? And the fifth question is this a good move after 3 to 5 moves? We ask these 5 questions. What does my opponent want? How can we improve our own position? How can we damage our opponent's position? Is it a blunder? And is the move that we think about is good for us after 3 to 5 moves? Okay, this is the third question process that we have. So let's talk about it here. Let's say for a moment that we're black. We know that black wants to make this move. Now let's ask ourselves, what does our opponent, what does white want? So now white has a very good center in contradiction to us. Okay, he probably wants something like castling and then do something with this bishop, because then this bishop is going to be the only piece which ain't that good for him. Okay, so now we know what does he want. Can we stop this? Not really. Okay, we cannot stop him from castling or developing the bishop. It's still an undeveloped bishop, but we can do something which is a little bit different. What does our opponent want, and can we hurt it? Not really. Okay, so now let's ask the second question. How can we improve our own position as black? We have a lot of pieces that are in the back rank, okay, like the knight we haven't yet castled. We don't have a strong hold in the center, so we can try to improve on these things. Okay, for example, can I maybe move my pawn here? Okay, can I move my knight here? Or can I move my knight here, for example? You're gonna get ideas that are like this, because you can see clearly that you can't really damage your opponent's position or stop him from doing what he wants. And then moves like this are gonna arise in your mind, and you will not make as much moves like bishop takes here, which was the inaccuracy that happened. Now, immediately after this, we have ideas for improving our own position. But again, can we really damage our opponent's position? Not really. By the way, this is probably what black was thinking, okay? Can I damage my opponent's position? He was thinking, and that was a mistake. Yes, I can just capture here, and then my opponent is going to have doubled pawns, okay? In comparison to you, that would have only one developed piece, which is the bishop, okay? This bishop is not going to exist. It doesn't really hurt his position, and this is where really improving on positional understanding kicks in, because then you're gonna see, oh, taking here is not that good, because then he has a strong center. Okay, so now we have a few ideas for what do we want to do. Okay, we have this move, have that move for our example, and we also have this move. So let's think for a moment. After like 3 to 5 moves, which of these moves is good? Let's start actually with the two that are more obvious, that we should not really do them, like the knight here. Okay, if we move the knight here, what could he do? Okay, and I'm specifically not putting it here. You would try to actually exercise on this. If you put a knight here, let's think for a moment, okay? After a few moves, he could probably try to start threatening it, okay? Like moving his pawn to d5, okay? This time it does threaten our knight, okay, but he doesn't give up a strong center, which is different from the first example that we had. He'll probably put his pawn here, we'll take, and he'll probably take back, and we will end up having our knight here in a threat, and he would really progress in the center. That is something he could do. Okay, something else he could try to do is to threaten this bishop, okay, and just to kick it away. Okay, this is again something he might try to do. Okay, and so we see in our mind it starts to be perceived as not the best move. Okay, and so you can discard it. Now the other move that we were thinking about, this move, pawn here, does this move look good for us after 3 to 5 moves? But in a real game, of course, you're gonna think a lot faster. Okay, the more you practice it, it just becomes a lot easier for you to think about this. Let's think like for the next 3 to 5 moves, does making a move like pawn here is a good move for us? It doesn't look like it. It looks like a very bad move. Why? I think that it blocks the bishop, okay? And suddenly the bishop here, which was extremely strong, like you've placed it like on b7 for a specific reason, now it becomes like pretty useless, okay? So we're not gonna do a move like pawn to d5. It doesn't look all that good for this bishop. Okay, so we've basically discarded the 2 of these moves, and now we have only another move that we were thinking about left, and we are not really thinking about this because, well, he's just going to try to immediately like threaten this bishop. Okay, it's losing material, do not try to do this. Okay, so now we're left with this move, but again, let's think for the next 3 to 5 moves. Okay, if you put our knight here, yes, he might try to actually attack us. That is actually something that could happen. Okay, we're not denying this. If he will try to attack us, we probably will have some way to solve this. Okay, we could move here, we could do certain things against it. This doesn't really scare us. Okay, and so yeah, we're gonna do knight to f6. Might still be a little bit better for him, but still he is in position which is stronger than our own. That is basically how we solve like inaccuracies and mistakes, and basically try to minimize them as much as we can. Okay, this is again what I've done, okay, and really improved my elo from 1300 to 1700 and 1600. If you've watched this far, I would suggest you to subscribe, because then the next video that I'm going to post will also be shown to you, and next time you're gonna sit on your desktop, you would have just a bunch of new videos from this channel that are ready for you to exercise on chess. Let's be honest for a moment, if you've reached for this section in the video, you clearly want to improve in chess. Okay, I could save you months of progress. Remember, I could literally like cut all this time for you. Like, take a look at this, so much time that I could have saved for myself. Okay, and I'm capable now of doing this for you because I experienced all of this myself, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.